All right. Hello. This is Frisella All Around the Yard. My name is Juliana. I'm your host today. I'm here with Jimmy Fike. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
That's right, Jimmy Fike.
Jimmy Fike. He is the author of Edible Plants and the photographer as well of as that. A beautiful book. I cannot wait till I can purchase it. So I'm going to put it on my Amazon wish list this afternoon as soon as we get off of here, because it's just right up my alley. I'm really excited about this book. So, Jimmy, tell me a little bit about how you decided, hey, this is what I want to do for 10 years.
Yeah, well, it's been a long project, right? Just like you mentioned,
Mhm.
over a decade, I've been traveling around the country, finding and photographing and illustrating these edible plants. When this
Mhm.
journey began, I was at a point in my sort of career as an artist where I really wanted to reapproach the landscape tradition and see if I
Mhm.
could come up with a new strategy that genuinely kind of made people more concerned with environmental issues. For as much as photographers were trying their best to do this kind of thing through their depictions of nature, I think it had
Mhm.
gotten a little bit, I guess, stale, with just beautiful
Right.
pictures of scenery and things like that. If that was going to fix the environmental problems, it would have done it. We don't have any,
Exactly.
shortage of beautiful pictures of nature. So it's really kind of just thinking about that kind of thing. Like what's a new approach to landscape photography that would encourage connection, build bonds to local ecosystems, and maybe through those mechanisms, people start to care more about environmental issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know me just thinking environmentally, I was, in my 20s, 30s, starting a family, raising kids, and I seriously didn't think anything environmental till my child came home and and said to me, "Mommy, why are you running the water so long when you're brushing your teeth?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I got a 6-year-old telling me how to
Yeah.
conserve." And then made me really think about just things with them and their future and the future of the earth and just topics like that. And how can I be better just in my everyday life
Yeah.
in what I'm doing, the food I'm feeding my family, those things. And it took me a while. I didn't realize it. I'm much older now, and I'm a little bit more attuned to it. And so I think about it on a daily, even hourly basis at times. How am I going to save, reuse, being in the industry that we are here at Frisella, the life cycle of plants and what you can do with plants and really how much they enrich our lives daily. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just excited about anything that we can do ecologically to save this planet, to help things, to do better things. So when you started on your journey, and this is like 10 years into the making, correct?
Yeah, 10, maybe even longer, about 13, I think.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So what brought you from your beginnings in Alabama to now you're in Arizona?
Now
I'm
I'm in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you've seen different parts of the United States, and I always say, man, the United States is something I want to totally explore before I go anywhere else, because there's so many really cool places to go.
Yeah.
What is in your travel some of the favorite places that you've been?
Well, a lot of this series was made possible by artist residencies.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, all over the country and really all over the world, there's artist residencies where you can apply. And
Hmm.
if you're lucky enough to get selected, you can go spend X amount of time in these beautiful locations. And, they give you a studio and lodging, and it's all
Wow.
kinds of different ones in terms of the level of
Hmm.
accommodations or whatever, but they're all over the country. So, and I've had
Yeah.
really great success with this series, really because I think it is so place specific. I
Hmm.
can apply to one of these and be like, wow, I really need to get to this location for the series. I don't have any plants from
Hmm.
this region, so please accept me. And it's worked out really well. So I've gone to beautiful places like Oysterville, Washington.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
went residency there at a place called Willapa Bay.
Hmm.
It was just beautiful. Had
It's a breathtaking state. It really
yeah,
is.
it's awesome. You know, it's like
I
a few hundred yards this way was the bay, maybe like a half a mile this way was the ocean, and this amazing sort of moss covered conifer, swampy, boggy
right.
forest in between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Such a rich ecosystem. So I really enjoyed my residency there a lot. And one of the other ones is just a real amazing treat was a place called the Bernheim Research Forest and Arboretum. It's
Mm-hmm.
in Kentucky. They
Oh
have a
wow. Where's it at in Kentucky?
um, it's like 30 minutes south of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So you're definitely in bourbon country there.
that was bourbon country. Yeah, there was a couple
Mhm.
surrounding the residency in the forest.
It's just a
Uh,
beautiful part of the United States that nobody really realizes.
I know.
It's really just
Yeah,
picturesque.
yeah, that Appalachian region
Mhm.
just gets me. It's
Yeah,
such a
it really
land.
does. I love visiting. I try to visit every year. I do have family in Kentucky, but it is just a part of the United States that nobody realizes how absolutely gorgeous it is.
Yeah,
And
it's really neat.
so, what is your favorite edible flower
Well,
or plant?
a plant in general, well, there's a lot of good ones, you know. There's a lot that are edible that are, you know, that aren't so good, but you can eat them in a pinch. And there's
Yeah,
plenty that are really, really delicious. And there's a lot that just kind of taste like grass, you know. It's like,
right. Yeah,
but
no.
one of my favorite ones that I've discovered out here in the desert of Arizona is called wolfberry. And
Oh,
it's a type of goji berry.
uh-huh.
And boy, there are certain places and times of year when you hit it right, they are just bountiful. They're just everywhere. And
Wow.
they're a nice mix of like a little bit sweet and a little
Hmm.
bit savory. They get compared to tomato a little bit. I feel like it's like if you took a tomato and crossed it with a little bit of an apricot, you know,
Oh,
something like
wow.
that. Yeah. So
That's interesting. A wolfberry.
those are really good. Yeah.
That's crazy. Is there anything that surprised you that you could eat? Like, I know people put dandelions in salads and things like that, but if anything that, struck you like, oh, I thought that was maybe poisonous, or maybe I thought I couldn't eat that, or,
Um, well, you know, I think one thing that's just surprised me continuously is just the sheer volume of stuff that is edible.
hmm
Go to these residencies, I would know anything about the plant life there.
hmm
You know, within a week, I'm identifying just scores of stuff. I mean, it's just everywhere you go,
yeah,
and
it would scare me. I'm like, oh my God, is that poisonous? I don't know, and to understand, I guess I would need somebody to teach me. But then does you in your new book, does that explain everything that you're seeing? You have your photograph or your rendering, and then explain what it is and how it
yeah,
works.
I designed it to be like a field guide, but I
Okay,
would call it a coffee table version of a field guide. You
nice.
know, it's a pretty nice book and pretty like the
Yeah.
illustrations are gorgeous, and you know, it's
hmm
really about the photography as much as it is about
hmm
it utilized as a field guide. But we kind of followed that framework. So on one page, you'll have the big photographic illustration that
hmm
shows the plant and the edible parts of it, and then on the other page, kind of just a very descriptive write up, like you'd see in a field guide,
hmm
where you can find it, what its characteristics are physically,
hmm
which parts are edible, maybe a little bit of lore, you know, mixed in there. You learn a lot
Yeah.
of kind of cool stories along the way when
Well,
you do what you do.
I read a little bit about your process. Can you explain your process a little bit more to our listeners on how you did the photography and the everything with the plants?
I can. You know, it takes a few twists and turns. I get a lot of
hmm
questions about the process because I think when people look at the images, they're just a little bit confused about what it actually is. You know, is it a photograph? Is it a painting? Is it a
Right.
collage? You know, I get all kinds of questions about what this is. So, you know, when I'm working out in the field,
hmm
got my used guidebooks. I'm not trained as a botanist or anything, so I just got used field guides, and I just walk around slowly trying to identify the plants and figure out what's what. And once I find a good edible plant, I dig it up, roots and all, and then I take it back to the studio. I clean it, got my toothbrush, clean off the roots and everything, get all the dirt
Great.
off there and with that. And then I pin it up as flat as
hmm
I can against the white wall. And So, I wanted everything to be in focus. So try and make it flat on that plane so everything can be very sharp focus.
Mm-hmm.
I always collect extra of the specimen. So maybe extra leaves, extra flowers, extra roots, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So photograph those two that I can use kind of like as a database to select elements from to copy and paste into the finished version.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to find a plant in nature that is kind of as perfect as mine look, you know, they're really like
That's how
archetypal.
you did that layering process that
Yeah.
you
So,
you did.
I photograph it in color on the white backdrop, and then I bring it into Photoshop. And this work is really like 95% Photoshop, 5% photography. It's really
Right.
very meticulous Photoshop work. I get rid of all the pins, all the holes in the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I very liberally, rearrange things, copy and paste in new leaves, flowers, whatever, adjust the kind of way the plant's moving and writhing so it looks a little bit like alive, and make it look like it's floating in space. And then, I save that kind of color version of it. And then I turn that black and white, then I invert it to where it looks like it's a negative image. Or
Right.
study
Right.
photography, and you might have heard of a contact print or a
Mm-hmm.
photogram, which is
Yes.
a type of print where you put a plant right on a piece of photo paper and you expose it to
Mm-hmm.
light. So at that stage it looks a little bit like one of those, and I'm
Right.
kind of playing off of that from the history of photography. Some of the very first photographs ever made were plant specimens on sensitized paper, so kind of playing off that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I paste back in the edible parts in color so you can see those as colorized. So it's a pretty involved process.
It's fascinating. Your pictures, they're beautiful and they're haunting and but then they're, like just a beautiful work of art. I'm like, I want 6 of those on my wall. That's how I want my botanical prints. And yours are such a fascinating way that you did this. And then to incorporate it as in, okay, here you go. Now I guess you can eat this thing.
Yeah.
Not only is it going to be beautiful as I deal with on a daily basis, these beautiful, beautiful leaves, beautiful flowers. I get all the imperfections and everything. But like you said, the roots, when I pull roots out and I'm transplanting something, that beautiful white fleshy root system, and you look at it and there's just so much to it. And you can't, but it's almost mind blowing that this is creating this beautiful, plant or flower through it. And it's sometimes it just makes you like, God, nature's so amazing on how this can happen.
It
And
really is.
and your
Yeah.
pictures are just unbelievable. I can't wait to get the book in my hands. I can't wait to see it.
That's
Is
also
there a
nice of
place?
you to say.
I appreciate the time that I'm getting to spend with you. Is there, where you've been over the United States, is there a place that you haven't been yet that you maybe would need to go to, or I'd like to go to, or an addendum onto the book for the next book?
You know what? I feel like I could probably work on this series the rest of my life. There's that
Mhm.
many edible plants, and it takes me
Right.
so long to do the work.
Yeah.
One of the goals that I had when I started to do this years and years ago, it seemed like a crazy dream. I didn't think I would ever really approach that, because I never worked on a series for so long in my life.
Right.
Uh, but one of the ideas that I had was, okay, I want to photograph a big enough cross section of the continental United States to where I could mount an exhibition anywhere and
Mhm.
feature plants that grow right outside the gallery. I thought
Correct.
that was really like mind-blowing, transformational idea.
Mhm.
And I can do that at this point. I can pull that off, but there's regions where I would love to get more, unique samples from, instead of
Mhm.
kind of generalized plants that happen to grow there and other places. So I would love to get to. I've never really worked in the Great Plains at
Mhm.
all,
Mhm.
and I've worked in New York State, upstate New York, when I first started this series, but I've
Mhm.
never gone further into the Northeast. So I would
Oh, like
love to.
Maine and New Hampshire and
Yeah, I would love to get up into there. And I've never worked in Florida, and there's just a lot of really, really unique stuff in Florida that doesn't grow anywhere else. So that'd be pretty cool too, to get to
wait till you
Florida.
see some air plants just hanging out.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what's, yeah, a lot of people, I'll sell air plants here and people don't know they're, native to Florida. They're just growing on the trees and you just pick them off,
Yeah.
and there you go. There's your air plant. And so that's kind of a neat thing. I don't know how many are edible, but it's really cool to see how many different things. I travel to California to see family and I go there and it's like a new wonderland for me. There's plants there that I would never be able to grow here that I think is just, opens up my mind to so many different things. I'm, getting ready to go again in February and I just relish the time that I can be there. And I saw a picture. Is that the same dog in the picture that?
Yeah. Oh no, this is my younger dog.
Oh, nice,
Scrappy
nice,
dude. Yeah.
nice.
He's a
Um,
pistol.
I love it, but I love going to different parts of the country and seeing things that I will never get to see here in the Midwest, and then be able to speak upon what I have in the Midwest here, because we do have a lot of things here that we can do in the Midwest. It's just so fun. It's just so fun to talk about it and to be a part of this life that I've created now and you've created and just to deal with living things that it's just fascinating. Just
Yeah.
absolutely
I
fascinating.
think it's really enriching too, it builds really interesting bonds to specific places and
It
helps you
really
really
does.
understand the history of that place and the ethnobotany side of it, and all
Well,
this.
and I go historically, there were so many other botany books so many years ago, take 100 years ago. There was a lot of, things that were new and exciting and almost like the whole world got away from it. Now we're getting back to it. And it's pretty cool. But to get, I antique on just my spare time or for fun. And I love looking at an antique botanical print
Oh,
or
nice.
something that's 100 years old. It's pretty awesome. It's one of my favorite things to do. So,
Ah,
but I appreciate you spending time with me. I could talk to you forever about this, but thank you for being on our podcast. I hope our listeners have enjoyed this. Please go on to Amazon or Barnes and Noble, your favorite bookseller. Reserve this book. It'll be out in March. Edible plants. I think the whole total is a photographic survey of the wild edible botanicals of the United States, or the North America, I guess. Did you be anywhere else? Did you get to Canada ever?
no, I have not worked in Canada.
Mhm.
Nowhere outside of the continental
Yeah,
US.
yeah.
Yeah.
You need
Well,
a
maybe
trip to
one day.
Hawaii too.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe rainforest one day. That'd be awesome too.
I
Get
know,
out of
wouldn't
that.
it be really cool? Really cool. Well, again, visit us at Frisella all around the yard. We also will post this on our YouTube channel, our little talk we've had today, and it'll be on Instagram and everywhere else, Facebook, that you could get your social media. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. And come out and get his book. It's beautiful. If nothing else, I'm gonna rip out a page and put it on the wall. So
Go for it.
thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate all
Hey,
the
it's
time
a
you spent
real
with me.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
I take care.
Yeah, you take care too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Got it.